Lila Chen stared at the 4 pills in her palm like they were the last 4 breaths her father would ever take. 4 pills. 48 hours of life, maybe less. Lila. Her father's voice from the sofa was barely a whisper. What time is it? She shoved the pills back in the bottle and turned around with a smile that felt like it might crack her face in half. Medicine time, Dad. He tried to sit up and couldn't. The effort made him cough. That wet sound that kept Lila awake every night. She rushed over, and when she lifted him, he weighed nothing, like holding air. Here. She pressed the pill into his hand. His fingers shook so badly he dropped it. Lila caught it before it hit the floor and guided it to his mouth with water. Half the water spilled down his chin. I'm sorry, he gasped. God, I'm so sorry you have to do this. Stop it. Lila wiped his chin roughly, anger flashing hot in her chest. You do the same for me. But I can't anymore, can I? His yellow eyes found hers. I just lie here dying while you kill yourself, trying to save me. The words punched the air from her lungs. Lila stood, walked to the window so he wouldn't see her fall apart. Outside, London was grey and moving and completely indifferent to her drowning. The pharmacy called, her father said behind her. I heard the voicemail, £800 for the refill. Lila's hands curled into fists. I'll handle it. How? We're 3 months behind on rent. Evictions in 7 days. You sold your mother's ring, my father's watch. What's left? Me. The word escaped before Lila could stop it. She turned. I'll sell myself. Find work. Any work. Her father's face twisted. Baby, no, not like that. I didn't mean... Lila stopped. She didn't know what she meant anymore. Her brain was too tired to think straight. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Heard you're looking for work. Good money. Live in position. Start today. The Sterling estate, £4,000 a month. Lila's breath stopped. £4,000. That was medicine. That was rent. That was time. What's the catch? Employer is difficult. High turnover. Last 30 days and there's a £10,000 bonus. Her fingers flew across the screen. I'll take it. 47 Kensington Gardens. Be there in 1 hour. Ask for James. Don't be late. Lila looked at her father, already asleep again, his breathing wet and labored. She called Mrs. Patterson next door. I need you to watch Dad. Please, just a few weeks. I'll pay you, I swear. Hush now, dear. Of course I will. You go. Lila threw clothes into her backpack with shaking hands. She kissed her father's forehead. I'm going to fix this, she whispered. I promise. Then she ran. The tube was packed with bodies. Lila stood crushed between strangers, counting stations, her heart hammering. Kensington Gardens was the kind of place she'd only seen in magazines, where houses cost millions and people had drivers. When she emerged, the streets were clean and white and perfect. Even the trees looked expensive. Lila felt like an intruder. Number 47 appeared like a fortress. Iron gates 12 feet tall, topped with spikes. Beyond them, a mansion that looked stolen from a movie. Lila pressed the buzzer. Yes? A man's voice, clipped and British. Lila Chen. Here about the maid position. Silence. Then the gates swung open with a mechanical hum that sounded like a warning. Lila walked up the gravel drive. The house got bigger with each step until it loomed over her like something alive. The front door was black and massive and said, "Turn back" in every language. The door opened before she could knock. A man in a butler's uniform stood there, silver-haired and stone-faced. Miss Chen, you're late. The message said, Mrs. Sterling changed her mind. She wanted you 45 minutes ago. He stepped aside. Come in, quickly. Lila entered a foyer the size of her entire flat. Everything was white marble and gold and crystal. A chandelier overhead probably cost more than her father's treatment. How many people live here? Lila asked. 2, Mr. and Mrs. Sterling. James closed the door. The sound felt final. Though Mr. Sterling is rarely home, so just her? Just her is quite enough. James started walking. Lila followed, her shoes squeaking on marble. I need to be honest. Mrs. Sterling has had 47 maids in 6 months. Most last a day, some last hours. One girl left after 20 minutes. Lila's stomach dropped. What does she do to them? Nothing illegal. She just breaks people, finds their weaknesses, and pushes until they snap. James's expression softened. You look like you need this job. That's why I'm warning you. I can handle it, Lila said, with more confidence than she felt. This is different. James stopped outside French doors. Through the glass, Lila saw her. Victoria Sterling sat among orchids, reading a magazine, looking like she'd been photoshopped into reality. Young, maybe 30, with cheekbones that could cut glass. That's her, James whispered. Try not to cry in front of her. She enjoys that. He knocked. Victoria didn't look up. Send her in. Lila stepped into sweltering heat. 85 degrees, humid and thick. Victoria still hadn't looked up. You're late, Victoria said, turning a page. Lila checked her phone. It's 4:02. The message. I changed my mind. Wanted you at 3:30. That's 32 minutes late. Victoria finally looked up, and Lila felt the weight of that gaze like something physical. You're Chinese. Half. My mother. Don't care. Victoria stood, and Lila realized she was tall, maybe 5'10" in heels. She circled Lila slowly. You're also poor. I can tell by your shoes. Primark, right? 3 years old at least. Lila's face burned. Your jeans have a patch. How thrifty. Did you sew it yourself? Victoria's smile was sharp. Let me guess. Desperate. Rent problems, medical bills. My father is dying, yes. Cancer, stage 4, costs a fortune. Sold everything. 3 months behind on rent. 7 days until eviction. Victoria waved a hand. I read your file. Lila's throat tightened. How do you know all that? I make it my business to know. Victoria picked up champagne, sipped. Here's what happens. I give you tasks. When you fail, you leave. But I'll give you a choice. Leave with dignity or leave with a month's salary. We'll see which you choose. What's the first task? Victoria smiled. Look up. A chandelier hung 30 feet above them, massive and dusty. That needs cleaning, every crystal. 15 minutes. Lila stared. That's impossible. Yes, but you're desperate. And desperate people attempt impossible things. The ladder's in that closet. Time starts now. Lila's brain screamed to leave, but she thought about her father's face when he couldn't sit up, the blood on his palm, the pills running out. She walked to the closet. The ladder was ancient, wooden, with rungs that looked ready to snap. Lila dragged it out, her arms shaking. It was heavier than it looked. 14 minutes, Victoria called cheerfully. Lila positioned the ladder. It swayed when she touched it. She started climbing anyway. Each rung creaked. The ladder wobbled. Don't look down. Just climb. You know this is impossible, right? Victoria's voice drifted up. I'm not even sure it can be done in an hour. Then why am I doing it? Lila called down, still climbing. To see how long before you quit. Lila reached the top. The chandelier loomed before her, massive and glittering and covered in dust. She pulled out a cloth and started wiping. The crystals were delicate. Each one reflected her face back in fragments. She worked faster, arms burning. 12 minutes. You've barely made a dent. Give up now. Save yourself the embarrassment. Lila wiped harder. Sweat dripped into her eyes. The ladder swayed. You know what I think? Victoria was closer now, standing directly beneath the ladder. I think you're going to fall. That ladder's old. You're too high. One wrong move and you'll break your neck. Is that what you want? Lila's voice echoed. I want to see what you're made of. Lila reached for another section, stretched too far. Her foot slipped. Her heart lurched. She grabbed the chandelier to steady herself. The ladder tilted. Careful, Victoria said, but she didn't sound concerned. She sounded fascinated. Lila's hands shook. Why do you do this? What did any of us do to you? You exist, Victoria said simply. You exist in my space, wanting my money, judging me. I'm not judging you. Yes, you are. You walked in and thought, what kind of person needs this much? You thought I was spoiled, cruel, a monster. Lila stopped wiping. Aren't you? Silence. Then Victoria laughed, sharp and wrong. 8 minutes. Better work faster. Lila reached for another crystal. Her arm screamed. She'd cleaned maybe a quarter. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. You're not going to make it, Victoria said. I know. So why are you still trying? Lila's vision blurred. Because my father is dying. Because I sold my mother's wedding ring. Because I'm 7 days from homeless. Because I have 4 pills left and the pharmacy wants £800. Because I don't have £800. I don't have 80. I don't have 8. Her voice cracked. So yes, I'm trying the impossible thing, because what choice do I have? Silence. Lila wiped her eyes and kept cleaning. Time's up, Victoria said. Lila climbed down slowly, legs shaking. When she reached the ground, she couldn't look at Victoria. Look at me, Victoria commanded. Lila looked up. Victoria's face was strange, not angry, not amused, something else. The job is yours, Victoria said. Lila blinked. What? You're hired. Report tomorrow at 7. James will show you your quarters. But I didn't finish. I failed. Yes, but you didn't quit. Victoria turned away. Most people quit at 8 minutes. You kept going even when you knew it was pointless. That's what I needed to know. Lila's head spun. I don't understand. You don't need to. Be here at 7. Don't be late. I despise lateness. Victoria sat, opened her magazine. You may go. James was waiting outside. Well? She hired me. His eyebrows shot up. She what? I start tomorrow. Lila leaned against the wall, shaking. What just happened? I have no idea. James looked genuinely shocked. In 6 months, you're the first person she's hired. Ever. Why me? I don't know, but if she hired you, she has plans, and Mrs. Sterling's plans are never pleasant. Lila walked back through the mansion in a daze. Nothing made sense. At the door, James said, Don't try to understand her. Don't try to fix her. Just do your job, survive 30 days, take your money, and leave. That's the only way to win. And if I can't? James's expression was grim. Then you'll be number 48. Lila walked back through perfect streets toward the tube. Her phone buzzed. Mrs. Patterson. Your father's asking for you. How did it go? Lila typed. I got the job. Start tomorrow. Mrs. Patterson. Wonderful news. But Lila didn't feel wonderful. She felt like she'd signed a contract with the devil, and the devil wore Louboutins. When Lila got home, her father was awake. Lila, Mrs. Patterson said you got the job. Lila forced a smile. I did. Live-in position. The money's good. Really good. How good? Good enough for your next treatment. Maybe 2 if I last long enough. His eyes filled with tears. Baby, you don't have to. Yes, I do. Lila sat, took his paper-thin hand. And I want to. You do the same. What kind of work? Lila thought about Victoria's cold eyes, the impossible chandelier. Housekeeping. For a very rich woman. It'll be fine. But as she said it, she wondered who she was convincing. That night, Lila lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. In 12 hours, she'd go back, put on a uniform, become someone's servant, someone who enjoyed making people suffer. But for £4,000 a month, she'd do it, even if it destroyed her. Lila arrived at 6:45 the next morning, 15 minutes early. James opened the door before she could knock. Punctual, good start. He handed her a uniform in plastic. Change in the bathroom. Be in the kitchen in 10 minutes. The uniform was black with a white apron, stiff and uncomfortable. Lila changed quickly, avoiding her reflection. In the kitchen, James was making tea with precise movements. Mrs. Sterling takes breakfast at 8. 2 poached eggs, toast with butter, Earl Grey tea. The eggs must be perfect. If the yolk breaks, she docks your pay £50. Lila's stomach dropped. £50 for a broken egg? Welcome to the Sterling estate. James handed her a binder, thick as a novel. Your daily duties, 7 pages. Memorize it. Lila flipped through it, eyes widening. Wake at 6. Prepare breakfast. Clean east wing. Polish silver. Dust library. The list went on, single-spaced. 16 hours of work. This is illegal, Lila said. Your live-in. Different rules. James poured tea into delicate china. Start the eggs now. Mrs. Sterling is often early. Lila had cooked eggs 1,000 times. But her hands shook so badly she cracked the first one directly into the pan, yolk breaking, spreading like blood. £50, James murmured. Try again. The second egg was perfect. So was the third. Lila plated them, arranged everything exactly as specified, and carried the tray toward the breakfast room, heart hammering. Victoria sat at a table for 12, alone, reading her phone. She didn't look up. Put it down and leave, Victoria said. Lila set the tray down. As she turned, Victoria spoke. Wait. She cut into the egg. Yolk ran perfectly. She took a bite, chewed, set down her fork. It's cold. I made it 3 minutes. I want my food hot, not lukewarm. Hot. Victoria pushed the plate away. Make it again. 5 minutes. Lila grabbed the tray, face burning, practically running to the kitchen. What happened? James asked. Too cold. Lila cracked fresh eggs, frantic. 5 minutes. Better hurry. This time Lila ran. The eggs steamed when she set them down. Victoria cut into one. The yolk was too runny, spilling like a wound. Overcooked. The yolk should be jammy, not liquid. Again. Lila's hands clenched into fists. Mrs. Sterling. Again. Third time. Lila's hands were steadier now, driven by rage instead of fear. She cooked the eggs for exactly 3 minutes, timed them, and walked. Didn't run. Back. Victoria cut into the egg. Perfect. She took a bite, chewed, swallowed. Acceptable, she said. Now clean the east wing. James will show you. The east wing was 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. All immaculate already. Lila spent 3 hours scrubbing until her back ached and knees screamed. When she finished, Victoria appeared. You missed a spot. She pointed to a mirror. Lila looked, couldn't see anything. Right there, a fingerprint. Lila stepped closer, the faintest smudge, barely visible. I'll clean it. You should have seen it the first time. Victoria turned. Oh, and I'm having guests for lunch. 12 people. You'll serve. Lunch is at 1. She checked her watch. 2 hours. Lila's stomach clenched. I've never served before. Then learn quickly. James gave her a 10-minute crash course. How to hold plates, which side to serve from, how to pour wine. Lila's head spun. What if I mess up? she asked. You will. Just don't spill on the guests. Mrs. Sterling's friends are worse than she is. At 1:12 people arrived in cars worth more than houses. Young, beautiful, dripping money. They spoke about people Lila had never heard of and places she'd never been. Lila served the first course, soup she couldn't pronounce. Her hands shook. One guest, a woman with painful-looking lips, wrinkled her nose. Is this girl new? She asked Victoria. She's pouring from the wrong side. Very new, Victoria said smoothly. Still learning. Well, she should learn faster. I nearly had soup in my lap. Lila's face burned. She served the rest without incident, but the words echoed. Still learning. Like a dog being trained. The main course was worse. Lila carried out lamb, and as she served the man at the head, not Victoria's husband, someone else, her elbow brushed his shoulder. He jerked, his wine glass tipped, spilling red across the white tablecloth. Silence. How clumsy, Lip Woman said. Victoria, where did you find this one? The gutter, apparently, another said. They laughed. Lila stood frozen, wine spreading like blood. Clean it, Victoria said quietly. Lila grabbed a napkin, trying to blot the wine. Her hands shook. She knocked over a water glass. More liquid flooded the table. Oh, for God's sake, Lip Woman said. Just stop. You're making it worse. I'm sorry, Lila whispered. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix my Hermes tablecloth, Victoria said, standing. Everyone, let's move to the sitting room. She looked at Lila, eyes cold. Clean this. Then find me. The guests left, laughing, commenting about the help these days. Lila was alone with the ruined table, wine-soaking fabric that probably cost thousands. She scrubbed for an hour, but the stain wouldn't come out. The tablecloth was destroyed. How much for this? When she found Victoria in the library, alone now reading, Lila asked, How much do I owe you? Victoria looked up. For what? The tablecloth, the wine. Oh, that, Victoria waved dismissively. £8,000, give or take. Lila's legs went weak. 8,000, 2 months' salary. I don't have £8,000, Lila whispered. Obviously, so I'll deduct it from your pay. 2 months free, plus the broken egg, the late breakfast, the fingerprint. Call it 9,000 total. The room spun. I can't work free for 2 months. My father should have thought of that before you ruined my table. Victoria stood. But I'm not unreasonable. Leave now. Owe nothing. Stay. Work off the debt. Leave with nothing. Stay and work for free while he died. There's a third option, Victoria said. Prove you're worth keeping. Tomorrow I'm hosting a charity breakfast. 50 guests. Serve the entire event without one mistake. I'll forgive the debt. All of it. And if I make a mistake, double. £18,000. Victoria's smile was sharp. What do you say? Want to gamble on yourself? Lila thought about her father, the pills, the eviction, the 47 who ran. I'll do it, she heard herself say. Wonderful. Breakfast is at 7. Don't be late. That night, Lila lay in her tiny servant's room, staring at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed. Mrs. Patterson, your father had a good day. He ate. He's asking about you. Lila typed, tell him I'm fine, not to worry. Another text. Unknown number. You're in over your head. Victoria Sterling destroys people. Leave before she destroys you. Lila stared. Who is this? No response. She deleted it and tried to sleep, but every time she closed her eyes, she saw Victoria's smile. Prove you're worth keeping. At 5 the next morning, Lila was in the kitchen, reading instructions. 50 guests, 20 dishes. Service had to be perfect. You look terrible, James said at 5:30. Didn't sleep. I'm not surprised. He pulled out ingredients. This breakfast is impossible. Even with full staff, it's difficult. With just us, it's designed to make you fail. Why would she do that? James stopped, looked at her. Because that's what she does. Gives hope, takes it away. It's a game. I don't know what she's testing for, but everyone fails. What if I don't? Then you'd be the first. James handed her an apron. Let's start. 2 hours. They worked in chaos, James cooking, Lila arranging plates. At 6:30, guests arrived. Lila heard their voices, loud and entitled. Remember, James said as Lila picked up the first tray, serve from the left, clear from the right. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't make eye contact, and don't spill anything. Lila walked in, heart in throat. 50 people at a long table. Victoria at the head, watching with mild interest. First course went perfectly. Smoked salmon served without incident. Lila breathed relief. Second course was Eggs Benedict. Lila served carefully, precisely. Halfway down the table, a man in an expensive suit stuck out his leg. Just slightly, just enough. Lila tripped, the plate flew, eggs and hollandaise sailing in slow motion. It landed in the lap of the woman across from him, the lip woman from yesterday. The woman screamed. Yellow sauce dripped down her white dress. Chaos erupted. You clumsy idiot, she shrieked, standing. This dress is Valentino, 20,000 pounds. Lila stood frozen, empty plate in hands. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Do you have any idea what you've done? Victoria stood. The room went quiet. She examined the dress, then turned to Lila. Miss Chen, you've cost me 20,000 pounds. Added to your previous debt, that's 29,000 total. She tilted her head. At 4,000 a month, that's 7 months free labor. Nearly 8. Lila felt the world tilt. 8 months. Her father would be dead in 3 weeks. Unless you'd prefer to leave now, the debt dies with your employment. Walk away, owe nothing. It was a trap. Lila could see it now, the way Victoria's eyes glittered. This was what she wanted, Lila, to break. Give up. Run like the 47 before her. I'll stay, Lila said, voice steady. I'll work off the debt. Something flickered across Victoria's face. Surprise or disappointment. Very well. Clean this mess, then return to the kitchen. You're dismissed from service. Lila cleaned eggs while the woman berated her, words cutting and cruel. She cleaned sauce while 50 people watched and whispered. She carried the ruined dress to the cleaners, face burning with shame. In the kitchen, James was waiting. The man who tripped you, James said quietly, is Victoria's husband, Jonathan Sterling. Lila stared. Her husband tripped me? Why? Because she told him to. I heard them before breakfast. She told him to make you fail. But why? I don't know, but this isn't about work. It never has been. Victoria's testing something. Until you figure out what, you'll keep failing. Lila slumped against the counter. I can't do this. 8 months without pay. My father will die. Then leave. I can't. I have nowhere else to go. This was my last chance. James was quiet. Then, there's a rumor about Victoria, that she wasn't always rich, that she came from nothing, worse than nothing. What? Someone said they saw a photograph once, in her private study. A little girl in a trailer park, wearing clothes falling apart. The girl looked exactly like Victoria. Lila's head snapped up. She grew up poor. It's just a rumor, but it would explain a lot. Why she treats staff this way. Why she needs everyone to know she's powerful. James met her eyes. People who've been powerless sometimes become the worst kind of powerful. Lila thought about Victoria's cold eyes, cruel smile, Where's her study? Third floor, west wing. But you can't just... I need to understand her. Lila was already moving. If I'm going to survive, I need to know who she really is. If she catches you, I'm drowning anyway. What difference does it make? Lila climbed stairs to the third floor. The west wing was quiet. She found the study easily, the only locked door. She picked the lock with a hairpin, something her father taught her as a joke. The door swung open. The study was dark, lined with bookshelves. Papers covered the desk by the window. Lila pulled out her phone, turned on the flashlight, started searching. She found the photograph in the third drawer, hidden under documents. A little girl, maybe 8, standing in front of a rusted trailer. Her dress was too small, torn. Her shoes had holes. But her eyes, those were Victoria's eyes. Lila photographed it with shaking hands. "What are you doing in here?" Lila spun. Victoria stood in the doorway, backlit, expression unreadable. Lila's throat closed. Victoria stepped in, closed the door. "I asked you a question." Lila held up the photograph. "Is this you?" Victoria went very still. "Where did you get that?" "Your desk." Lila's voice was steadier than she felt. "This is you, isn't it? Before all of this." "Give it to me." "Not until you tell me why." Lila held the photograph away. "Why do you hurt people who are just like you used to be?" "I'm nothing like you," Victoria hissed, and for the first time Lila heard real emotion, rage, and underneath, fear. "I earned everything. I clawed my way out of that hell. I made myself into someone who matters. By making other people feel small. By making sure I'm never small again." Victoria's voice cracked. "Do you know what it's like to be nothing? To have people look through you like you're invisible? To know that no matter how hard you work, you'll never be good enough because you're poor and poor people don't matter?" Lila stared. Victoria's perfect mask had cracked, and underneath was something raw and bleeding. "I know exactly what that's like," Lila said quietly. "I'm living it right now." Victoria's breath caught. For a moment, they just looked at each other. Then Victoria snatched the photograph. "Get out." "Mrs. Sterling, get out of my study, out of my house. You're fired." Lila's world tilted. "What?" "You heard me. Pack your things. Leave within the hour. And the debt stands. £29,000. My lawyers will be in touch." Lila's legs moved without permission, carrying her out downstairs, to her room. She threw clothes into her backpack with shaking hands, mind numb. £29,000. Bankruptcy. They'd take everything. Her father would die on the street. Halfway to the door, her phone rang. "Mrs. Patterson." "Lila, thank God. Your father collapsed. The ambulance is taking him to Royal London Hospital. You need to come now." The phone slipped from Lila's hand, clattered to the floor. Her father was dying, and she had failed him. Lila ran. Out of the mansion, through the gates, down perfect streets that blurred through tears. She ran until her lungs burned and her legs screamed, ran until she reached the tube station, gasping, sobbing, collapsing against the wall. A hand touched her shoulder. Lila looked up. Victoria stood there, still in her designer dress, looking completely out of place in the grimy tube station. Her face was pale, eyes red. "What are you doing here?" Lila choked out. "I don't know," Victoria whispered. And for the first time she looked lost. Human. "I heard you on the phone. About your father. I don't know why I followed you." "To watch me suffer? Isn't that what you do?" Victoria flinched like she'd been slapped. "Yes, that's what I do. I make people suffer because people made me suffer, and I swore I'd never be powerless again." Her voice broke. "But watching you run out, watching you break, I saw myself, that little girl in the photograph, running away from everything that hurt her. Lila wiped her face roughly. I don't have time for this. My father is dying. I know. Victoria pulled something from her purse, a checkbook. She wrote quickly, tore out the check, held it out. Here. Lila stared at the check. £50,000. What is this? Enough for his treatment. Maybe 2 cycles if they're careful. Victoria's hand shook. Take it. Why? So I'll owe you. So you can own me? No. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. Because that little girl in the photograph, the one I've been trying to kill for 15 years, she's screaming at me right now. Screaming that I've become exactly what I hated. The people who looked down on me, who made me feel worthless. She wiped her face angrily. Take the check, Lila. Save your father. And then never come back to my house, because if you do, I'll destroy you. Not because I want to. Because I won't be able to help myself. Lila took the check with shaking hands. You're not a monster. Yes, I am. Victoria turned to leave, then stopped. But maybe, for 5 minutes, I remembered what it was like to be human. That's more than I've managed in years. She walked away, disappearing into the crowd, leaving Lila standing there holding £50,000 and wondering what the hell just happened. Lila made it to the hospital. Her father was in emergency, hooked to machines,
Don't go.
barely conscious.
Please,
The doctor said they
stay
could
here
start
with
treatment
me.
immediately if they had payment. Lila handed over the check. 3 weeks later, her father was home, weak but alive, the treatment working. Lila sat beside him on the sofa, holding his hand. I still don't understand where you got the money, he said. I told you. A job. No job pays £50,000 in a month. Lila thought about Victoria's face in the tube station, about the tears and the broken voice, and the little girl in the photograph. This one did. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. The debt is forgiven. The check was a gift. Don't contact me. Don't come back. But Miss Chen, thank you for reminding me that I used to be human. I'd forgotten. Lila stared at the message for a long time. Then she typed back. You're still human, Mrs. Sterling. You just forgot how to see it. No response. Lila didn't expect one. She deleted the number and looked at her father, at his color coming back, his breathing easier. She'd saved him, not by working herself to death, not by destroying herself, but by holding up a mirror to someone else's pain and reminding them that money couldn't fill the holes that poverty had carved into their soul. Sometimes the bravest thing wasn't surviving the impossible. It was helping someone else remember they were more than their worst moments, even if that someone wore Louboutins and had a smile like broken glass, even if that someone was just as broken as everyone they hurt, even if that someone was just trying to outrun a little girl in a trailer park who deserved better than what the world had given her. Lila looked at her father and smiled. They were going to be okay. And somewhere in a mansion in Kensington, maybe Victoria Sterling was going to be okay too. Or maybe she'd just go back to breaking people. Either way, it wasn't Lila's problem anymore. She'd survived. She'd won. Not the way she expected. But sometimes winning looked different than you thought it would.